You know, when I was growing up, my mom used to scold me a lot. She used to say things to me like, you know, John, stop talking to yourself in public, please, mijo. Stop chewing on broken glass, pendejo. Stop dressing up in women's clothing. Well, now there's a place for people who do those kind of things. It's called the Fringe Festival. That's right, with 75,000 audience members, 5,000 artists, 1,500 volunteers, 200 shows in 20 different venues. That's French, venue. I don't know what it's called in Spanish. Vecindades, like you said.
Lugares.
Lugares, there you go. Qué bueno, usted sí habla español, tiene un dominio de ese lenguaje cabrón. All right. The New York International Fringe Festival, easy, is the largest multi-arts festival in North America. Where else could we have enjoyed diverse shows as the Tony Award-winning You're in Town? That's not a joke, that's a real show. And such lesser-known shows as the Rat King Rock Opera or Angst, the new teen musical.
As a father of two girls, I think I actually lived through Angst, the teen musical. It was not easy.
No, I bet it wasn't. You know, as an actor, I once rented a studio in Urinetown. What? It was rent controlled, okay?
For 11 years, Fringe NYC has been a big part of downtown Manhattan's burgeoning cultural scene, and it has launched the careers of many a director, designer, and actor, all the while maintaining a top ticket price of $15. Despite its name, the Fringe is at the very center of this city's unrivaled creativity. So I am delighted to present a 2007 Mayor's Award for Arts and Culture to the New York International Fringe Festival and its producing artistic director, Alina Hawley.
FringeNYC is built on barter, goodwill, volunteerism, and the economy of scale. 1,500 registered volunteers and a volunteer staff of more than 100, some who've taken their vacation from work each August for more than a decade, have created databases, hung lights, recorded podcasts, reviewed contracts, adjudicated applications, served beverages, sorted tickets, sweated a lot, and created FringeNYC because they love New York City. They make their living working in finance, IT, business affairs, fashion, and science, and then donate their time off, skill, talent, and energy to this festival. Their response is always, what can I do to help? And embodying the spirit of FringeNYC is Shelley Birch, who as a 1996 volunteer went door to door seeking neighborhood signatures, was later our administrative director, and is now our board president. We've operated almost entirely on earned income for more than a decade, but to continue we knew we must secure funding. We couldn't be more proud to now be funded by the Department of Cultural Affairs. And so we thank the mayor, commissioner, Speaker Quinn, and the city council, and everyone who worked so hard to provide that opportunity. To the New York State Council on the Arts, who has funded us from the start, and our family at the Alliance of Resident Theaters New York. To the New York media, whom we were pretty sure was going to completely ignore us, for instead shining a spotlight on what those crazy kids were doing downtown in 1997, and allowing us to grow up in that light. To the off-Broadway theaters, whom we couldn't possibly pay enough, for instead providing the remaining rent as an in-kind donation, and Actors Equity Association for allowing us to accept this kindness. To vendor partners who provide a pro bono product or service, and our sponsors, the Village Voice and TicketWeb, both of whom, when I said, we don't need free advertising, y'all, said, what do you need? And then when I said money, they responded with, we can do that. To commercial theater folks who've made contributions even before we had a show win 3 Tony Awards, and my mentor and friend Richard Frankel, who taught me so much and gave me the month of August off as paid leave, even though he knew eventually this would provide a paycheck and I'd quit my job as his assistant. To Newmark Knight Frank and the Alrose Group, who have donated extraordinary ground floor real estate in Manhattan to service Fringe Central, and to the artists of Off-Broadway who started the indie theater movement and the New York Theater Experience for recognizing it. To John Clancy, who had the crazy notion to start a Fringe Festival in New York City, and Nancy Walsh for being in the trenches with me making sure it happened. To Kevin for showing me what it means to have a partner, and Mom and Daddy for their support of all kinds, especially when that first landlord wouldn't take an out-of-state guarantor. That a decade later, a festival created by, sustained by, and dedicated to a generation of artists who'd been working in complete anonymity on the Lower East Side is receiving this award is a tribute to all of those who made tremendous personal and professional sacrifices to make it happen. And so on behalf of the next generation of emerging artists who perhaps have the opportunity to not spend a decade working in anonymity, I thank you. Seeing an emerging playwright present a new play in a lovely, safe, clean theater with a cast featuring one taking time off from a Broadway show alongside another who arrived at Port Authority just yesterday is extraordinary. And most importantly to our audience, for the way they have embraced us and the ownership they feel in FringeNYC. They are bankers and lawyers and CEOs. They are cab drivers and teachers and retail salespeople. They bring us coffee and help us move boxes and welcome the tourists they meet in line by saying, oh, you've never been to our festival? Here's a program guide. They are New Yorkers, the hardest working people on the planet, and in celebrating this festival, you honor them. So thank you, Mayor Bloomberg. I think you rock, and there is a group of downtown's best and brightest upstairs at the Irish Rogue who totally agree with me. FringeNYC has been an extraordinary adventure. I marvel at all of it, and we're just getting started.
That was very touching.